Vibe Tribe, guess who I have here on the Bitcoin Piece of Music podcast? It is one of my oldest, dearest friends in the music world. He is one of my heroes. He's a friend. He's somebody I look up to on so many levels as a father, as a business person, as a music lover, as a spiritual man. And I'm so excited to introduce you guys to DJ Israel Galindo, the CEO of Advanced Networks and the host of the Is Radio Show. Woo woo! What's up, Is?
What's up, Valerie? How you doing?
I'm so good now that I get to hang with you here and do this. This is so fun.
This is fun.
Dude, we're having so much fun. Oh, hold on. I got the wrong thing on the screen. There we go. Now I got the right thing on the screen. Yay! I'm getting there. I'll be getting there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, dude. How's it going?
It's going great, Val. You know, here in LA, it's nice. We miss you in the West Coast, you know, the legend, the hero, the Vibe Tribe herself, the goddess of the universe. This, you know, bow to you because, you know, I have so much love and I'm always proud of everything that you do.
Oh, honey, you've definitely been the wind beneath my wings, and I really appreciate it. You've always been just so full of love. Like you're the epitome of the Vibe Tribe. Like you are the Vibe Tribe, right? It's like so good, the essence and the ethos. Oh, hell yeah. So, okay, so you and I have been talking about doing a podcast forever. We've been talking about doing a project together forever. We've been talking about it. And now here we are. Yay. And I want to share something you shared with me on this last weekend that you did with your daughter. This was super exciting because you and I have been talking about rocking and rolling in the metaverse and doing some 2x4 sets, you know, in virtual world and all this. And when COVID was going on, it was just like, yeah, let's do this. But I obviously didn't get around doing it, but you did. So I want you to share with us, you know, what you did with your daughter, and then we'll go deep into like your work and everything, because this to me is like so special.
Sure, indeed. So obviously it was Easter this weekend and her birthday landed the day before Easter. I run a tech company here in Los Angeles, and one of the biggest things that we do as tech people is when there's an emergency at a customer, we have to run. Right. So that happened to be what happened this weekend. Was Northern California. We had a huge internet outage that I had to be gone for now because I was going to miss not only Emily's birthday, but also miss the Easter weekend with her. And it is a tradition for us to do the Easter egg hunt, like, you know, we do as parents for our children. So what I decided is I literally threw on my Oculus headset, went into alt space where the metaverse, one of many metaverses, lives. And I literally built the world in a couple of hours, created an Easter egg hunt, invited everybody, and people came in, did an Easter egg hunt virtually. While I couldn't be there, we could still be 500 miles away, but still share the experience with her, as well as bring others around the world to share her birthday in an Easter egg fun hunt in the metaverse.
Dude, that is, I mean, you guys, can you imagine if this guy was your dad, right? Like, yes, and yes. I want you, I mean, hey, daddy. No, that sounds weird if I say I want you to be my daddy. Okay, hold on. Never mind. But like, seriously, what a magical thing. I mean, I think about so many parents who are working, or if they're living separately and apart from each other, who miss out on the most special moments of their children's lives, right? For whatever reason. And technology has this gift that when used with, you know, thoughtfulness, we can bring each other together and not miss these parts of life together. So I would love to hear what was her experience? And her name is also DJ Kitty. She's an upcoming rising Vibe Triber, and she's got a thing or two to teach me about how to rock some music and the dance floor, because she's got it. She's got the grandmaster daddy to teach her. DJ Kitten. Sorry, not DJ Kitty. My bad. Hold on. I know you're like, it's DJ Kitten, dude. We're gonna change that. So tell me, how did she do? What
you know what?
How did she like it?
She was beyond surprised and impressed, because not only did she get to Easter, she got the traditional physically going outside with her mom and finding the Easter eggs. But with dad and all his virtual friends, we all came together into this virtual world and were able to really experience it. She had a blast, and it was such a beautiful thing to experience with her in regards to going and celebrating, as you can see on the screen here, going into this virtual land that we'll go into right now. I wanted to just kind of share it with you. I put a gigantic bunny in there. We had amazing, fun, hidden treasures. She had to find a hidden animated bunny. I mean, it was such a fun thing, not only for somebody who turned 8 years old, but also for adults that were in there that were noticing it was my daughter's birthday and share experiences in the digital world with us. One of my friends in Spain came in and found a bunch of eggs with her and his wife, and it was just a really beautiful experience to share with her. And she felt very special. This is the entrance of it.
Oh my God, I
If you
love
can
it.
see, I also made a little flyer so when people do come in, they kind of see what's going on. She is a lover of cats, so her her cake has a bunch of cats on it, as you can see right here,
Oh my God.
as Emily's name.
Oh, hold on. It is just I'm trying to get it so that I can make this bigger, and I'm not doing it the
Sure.
right way. Like, do I have to move this little tile over to the left because all the buttons down here are making it me
Yeah.
go highlighted, and I don't want to highlight myself.
Yeah, you can spotlight that screen to enlarge it so you can have that shown up. Opposite
Not
of what you just did would work.
well. Do I have to drag me over on top of her? Because you know how there's all these little buttons down here. I want to like hold on. Ooh, let's see. Let's see if that goes.
There
Yay,
you
it
go.
worked. Okay,
There
good.
you go.
Okay, cool, cool. All
Yeah, so
right.
this is the entrance of the virtual land for her. There are many hidden treasures in here. One of the many treasures in, and yes, this is what we would call the metaverse, is animated animals. There is a sleeping cat, and if you look very carefully, you can actually see his tummy moving as he's sleeping.
Oh my
Um,
God.
so she had a blast going in here and playing with all the animals. There's another one right there. She could take selfies in front of the picture with that.
Oh my gosh.
But this was right, exactly. But this was a full virtual experience for her, going here with everybody around the world. And again, we had a lot of people that came across from Europe. So a lot of them I didn't even know. They were like, "Oh, Easter egg hunt. Who's this for? Who's DJ Kitten?" And as you can see, as we're going through, there's a big old bunny.
Oh my God, and
Um,
all the eggs.
and all the eggs. And some of the eggs were easy to find for her, being 8 years old, but a lot of them were, you have to know where to look. Some of them were hidden inside things. Other things were hidden in plain view. And obviously, I have air balloons, and because you can fly in this world, she could play basketball, hacky sack, hide inside a chicken, play hide and go seek with people that were here. And she literally just had a beautiful, fun experience. And again, it only took me a couple hours to build this for her, just to make it like she's out in the playground and playing with everybody around the land. So it was fun to do. And she really enjoyed it.
This is so cool, dude. Like, high five to you. And I mean, seriously, that's a boss move as a dad. And um, what? So okay, so I haven't spent a lot of time in the virtual world, even though I'm fascinated with it completely. What can you record that experience when she was in it, and then can she go back and like play it again, or be with the people that were there and just kind of like you would watch a video again? Like, can she do that?
Yeah, because this is a world that you've created. It stays there until you decide to delete it. So this world
Okay.
is open right now for anybody to go and enjoy. People can search Easter egg hunt or DJ Kitten, and they can find this world. They can favorite, and they can go play themselves even now. Now, if it was something that I just only wanted to share with my daughter, not the rest of the world, I can make it a private world. But as you saw on the screen, I could record this entire session for her future birthdays, and she can go back and relive the experience that she had in that moment in this land. So yes, it is very recordable.
Like, what a cool thing. I just think of like, for my kids' birthdays and stuff, like I make them like Shutterfly scrapbooks, and they look at it once and it sits on their shelf and it's gone. And they're like, yeah, who cares, But I think about like what an interesting thing. You can have this virtual world scrapbook every year, that like then she could go look at it,
Yeah.
when she's 100 or whatever, and check it out. It just seems like a cool.
I know
It's
this
just,
is
I love this stuff.
and this is such a morbid thing to say, but even when I'm gone in the future, obviously we all get older. In these virtual lands, she could talk to me in front of me. We can record the session. She can hug me, a virtual me, of course. But in the future, she can go back and play this back and see herself hugging her dad, like a video, right? And
Yeah.
have that experience that she's staring at my face and really remembering the years that she was able to spend with her father in a virtual world and in real life, of course.
I love that. And I think about like, I think one of the reasons I haven't spent a ton of time in these virtual worlds is because they are, they are too cartoony for my mind and how my brain wants to be engaging with the world. However, I look at what was it, Pong? Remember the first video game? It was like a dot, on the screen and everything. And you're like, wow, this is so cool. I can move the little dial and I'm playing the Pong game, And then now look how far in, 35 years, more than that, almost 40 years before that, that came out. Now look what, we've got these just imaginary, wonderful fantasy worlds that we create. So it's like, it's going so quickly with the way, the processing power and the computing power so that we can make the worlds feel more holographic and real. And having that like fantasy and real experience, right? Are you going to show everybody? I know a lot of us, you guys will be listening to this on a podcast, so you're not going to get to see the magic, but are you going to show us your
Right.
dude?
That's what I was just gonna do. Is I was just
I
about
had
to
a
bring
feeling
you
you're
to that
queuing him up.
session.
I was like, I can see your face over there. Y'all queuing
Yeah.
up. Okay, Todd, explain to everybody what you're gonna show us.
Yeah, so basically what we're gonna do is so this is my real office here. This is in Southern California. I have an amazing view. I'm on the top layer. I have a shared space. So for me, I have like 2.5 spaces shared, right? But I created a virtual office in the metaverse that is 2 stories. It has a YouTube studio, you name it. It has everything you can think of to have a functioning business. My employees can come in here and have meetings with me at a conference room table and just have a virtual experience with me all across the board. So what I'm doing right now is I'm actually queuing up that office space.
Ooh,
so
cool.
you can see what it looks like, and then I'll throw my headset on so you can kind of see the virtual me the virtual me in the spot. But think about that, Val. You and I have talked about DJing together in a land, right? Even you're far away, than I am, but we talked about that. But being able to say, hey, Val, we're going to be in a round table discussion like we are right now, but you're sitting right next to me and we're having this discussion now, but we are in a virtual land that we are sharing with everybody. It's a whole other level. I mean, for me to be able to see when you move your hair and your hair, shines and moves and everything, it's a whole other world than where we are right now. It's a neat experience. So.
Yeah, and I think of like, I remember in the Star Wars where the council or the Jedi were all these holographic dudes, and I'm like, we're so close to that being like,
yeah,
like it seems like we're inches away from that with the technology that's available to us. And
yeah,
obviously COVID happened and, everybody learned how to use Zoom. People a couple years ago, they're like, what's Zoom? I'm like, well, you're going to find out. Yeah, it's definitely cool for sure.
I do have to say something on the tech side, and you know this because you're techie yourself. There always needed to be a push we were stuck with remote and Zoom, and we couldn't push it any further. COVID, although it was not a great thing in our entire lifetime, was something that did ricochet technology to the next level. And that's
Mhm.
something that, you know, we all now see and use. You use Zoom, you know, your kids learn how to work with things remotely. And so did our parents and grandparents, really took it to another level.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
totally. Yeah, you're right. And it is unfortunate sometimes the adversity is what's going to cause, the
Mhm.
mother of invention, I suppose.
Yeah.
Is that what they say? Adversity is the mother? No, something else. Necessity is the mother of invention. I think
I
that's
think
what
it's
it is.
necessity. Yeah.
Necessity. Cause yeah,
Mhm.
you're like, oh, I need to do this. So yeah, I think that's how it goes. Um,
So,
okay, let's see your world. Ooh, okay,
okay.
hold on.
So this is the Advanced Networks office, the virtual office versus what you saw me in right now. So what
Okay.
I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my head. This is what I get to see if I was working in here.
What's up, Iron Man? He's like the billionaire
I
place.
know,
Look
exactly.
at,
Oh,
oh, is that, oh, I love
look,
it.
you have an actual fish tank.
Oh my god,
And if you
dude.
really
And there's a
wanted to,
turtle.
yeah, you can go inside and play with the fish.
You need a
Um,
mermaid.
right, we need a mermaid. But yeah, you and I can come in here. That big triangle is actually a video screen that we
Nice.
can have a conversation. And then I'll show you my personal office where I actually come in and work and brainstorm ideas. And you'll love this, Val. I use a sticky board that's synced to the real world. So these are
What?
actual boards that's syncing to the real world of everything I need to do on a daily basis.
Wow, I want your brain and organization, please. Thanks. Okay, so tell me how that works. That's fascinating.
Yeah, so these are just what we call MREs and APIs. You've heard of an API? It's just a connector. So
Uh-huh.
it's a plugin to AltSpace that allows me to use a third-party application. So when I change a sticky in the real world, it changes here, and I'm seeing it like a video screen. I can go in here and say, okay, I got to work on this website. I got to work on my trust and will. I work at DJ Val. So all of that stuff is there that I update in the real world. And then here's some of the pictures that I've had from different celebrities, that I've got to work with, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that is so
Um,
cool.
and silly things like here is my desk. I actually will sit in the real world, but in the virtual, I'll be wearing a headset. And there is a picture of me and my daughter in the corner. So.
Yeah, DJ Kitten, what's up?
Yeah. And there's, I'm a fan because of you of crystals. So there's my crystals.
Yay! I love it. I
Um,
love all the purple and magenta. It's so good.
Right. And we've got, of course, incense going in the background. It's kind of hard to see that smoke, but you see that.
Oh my
Um,
god, dude.
but things like this, taking you to where I want to show you the conference room. This is where my employees would come in with their headsets, and there's our conference room.
Wow.
And to the user, you wouldn't get to see this part. This is actually just a picture of my current office I'm in. So
Mhm.
when we were talking about a virtual me, which is what I'll spin up for a minute, this is a view. And yeah, believe it or not, my employees will come in here and they'll space out on the view. They'll just stare out the window while I'm trying to talk to them about having a true meeting. This is a mirror so I can see what I'm showing to people. That virtual me is the advanced network employee. That's my cameraman. You could call that a camera that literally streams to the real world who I am. But if I spin this around and I zoom in, you would never tell that this that you're seeing right there is the same thing that you're seeing right here. Only it's reversed. Let's use how we flip the screen on that one. Um, but this screen is the equivalent of that character that I had told you we were going to pull up and talk about. Um, are your children, while I'm putting this on my head, are your children into this new technology at all?
No, and it's interesting. Steve got them an Oculus for Christmas, and they thought like, yeah, it's gonna be so great. They're all gonna use it, and it's of course just sitting on a shelf, and nobody plays with it. And so, I mean, Apollo, my son, is really he's super into gaming, but he's not into creating stuff, and he doesn't seem to be that excited about the virtual worlds.
Mhm.
And my daughter's definitely not. It's not her jam at all. Which is, whatever. Everybody's got their something. But but yeah, I want to see. Okay, so here you are on the screen right now. I
So
see
this
the
is
camera, and you've got
mhm,
your VR headset on, and this is an
right.
Oculus.
So this is the Oculus, and obviously it was created by a company called Oculus that later was purchased by Facebook.
Okay.
So this actually goes into my head. I would say in about 5 years ago, it was where you would stick your phone into the screen of these
Uh-huh.
two mirrored glasses. This gives you the 3D effect, but it's actually a mini computer. It's an Android computer that gives you that technology. So this is kind of what we're looking at right now of me going into this device. These are my controllers, my right
Okay.
hand, my left hand, and these triggers control my thumb, my fingers, and everything adjacent to the body. So
Okay.
let me just get into that screen again. Um, and only because we were talking and it timed out of me going into the application because that it's a computer, it goes to sleep like anything else does. So um, now, do you foresee yourself taking advantage of this type of technology, or is it something that our generation might be on the fence about? Because I've heard both sides in regards to this technology.
Well, my limited experience with it, like I went to an AR conference a couple years ago, and I think it was in Santa Rosa, and my original enthusiasm about was twofold because I was like, okay, how can we use virtual reality and augmented reality and mixed worlds um, for healing
Mhm.
and for people who have PTSD and people who are struggling with different types of mental health issues that they could use some support with. And I was like, well, what if we create this virtual experience that, you know, uh, can kind of be like an exposure therapy type thing, and then also have it be guided with a therapist at the same time. So rather than just like, okay, once a week you go to a therapist and then you go home and hopefully you can meditate and hopefully you can visualize stuff, or, whatever the prescription is that you're getting for your home practice. And I was like, ooh, hey there. Hello.
Hello, hi.
Hello. Oh my God, this
So,
is so fun.
isn't this really neat?
It's so cool.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so I thought that was one way, to utilize the technology. And of course, the second way is fun and let's go play and be weird and creative and build stuff and engage with each other, just like what you're doing right there. And
Right. Um,
yeah.
I will tell you that in this world, in this universe that we call the metaverse, there are a lot of people with a lot of ailments and disabilities that are
Hmm.
using this. There is a gal, and I talked about her in another show that I was being interviewed on. She goes by Supergirl, whatever her screen name is, but she has a talk show and it's all about Supergirl. But her real life, she is, I believe, in a wheelchair and has cerebral palsy or something like that. But you know what? You would never know. She talks, she moves like me. She moves her hands around. She comes to my nightclub and dances in the virtual world and really takes advantage of that. And we've met a lot of people in here that experience that, and it is such a beautiful thing. Just to give you a quick side story, a couple of years ago, my daughter, my 8-year-old Emily, was diagnosed with JIA, so it's juvenile arthritis. So she had issues with her wrist and her ankles and she could not be mobile. When we got her an Oculus, her mind was not thinking about the pain, she was thinking about the video game that you're
Yep.
playing.
Yep. Yep.
And
Yep.
it really was something that was therapeutic for her. I tried to talk to different therapists in regards to this technology being key for those things, and they agreed it's a physical therapy tool that
Hmm.
really gets your brain into another land, and you can really exercise and do what you need to do, and a well-being all around.
Yeah, it's huge. And I remember um, also learning about this and with people who are like burn victims or people that they have to go do different types of treatment with. And when they got them distracted in virtual environments, they had to use much less narcotics and pain medication to do the treatments and therapies because their mind was elsewhere and they weren't
Of
focusing
course.
on like, holy shit, I'm about to get something that's going to hurt and be uncomfortable. And so it's such a cool technology for so many uses, obviously, you know, for fun and play and connecting, but also really for a variety of angles of healing. And so, um, how does your daughter like being in the virtual world? I mean, does she spend a
Um,
lot of time there? Do you limit her time?
Yeah, so one of the things about the virtual world is because her avatar looks like a 24-year-old or 26-year-old woman,
Oh,
it is very, for safeguard for me being a parent as well, I do not
mhm.
let her go in there by herself. She is always accompanied by me, another adult, or even a close friend of ours that is really good friends with Emily. When they go in there to play, they go into worlds that are designated for children. But she has DJ'd in my nightclubs, and people would never know she's an 8-year-old DJing for 200 people all over the world. But then you have those drunk guys at home sitting in their living room going, "Hey, DJ Kitten, what's your sign?" And you have to sort of look at that and go, "Hey, sorry, buddy, but she's 8 years old. Walk away."
Dude, I know it, like, obviously just the regular good old hold really quick. Can you see like what's going on in the screen or
Yeah,
because you've got your so you can see the everything in addition
yeah.
to your world?
Yeah, so basically there's cameras that are built into this little device on each corner. And
Mhm.
if I lean forward, the screen kind of gives me that see-through effect. So I could
Okay.
actually see the screen right now, and see everything that's going on as well. So if you
Oh,
had your screen up, I can see us both.
oh my god, that's so cool. This is just so much fun, but let's circle back really quick about
Yep.
safety and, you know,
Mhm.
obviously safety in on social media, safety in the metaverse, safety walking down your street. Um, as parents, you know, it's 24/7 now. It's not just like, oh, my kids left the house and I have to worry about them down at 7-Eleven getting somebody harassing them. It's like, you know, and then clearly regular old social media has got its thing, but then the metaverse. So I want to make sure I'm saying the right thing because obviously you got the whole Facebook meta thing that they're trying to, it seems like, hijack the whole
Mhm.
idea of metaverse, right? So to
Right.
me, the metaverse is like the immersive world of you know, this internet, you know, versus, you know, you call the internet. It's not like anybody owns the internet. Is would you use that word metaverse for like a generic everything that's kind of in these virtual worlds?
Definitely. Metaverse really is just a shared 3D virtual experience
Okay.
that you're doing. So just like you stated, a video game is the metaverse. People use, all of these kid games that they're doing, those are all metaverses. If you remember the days that you and I would play the Sims game, with multiplayers,
Uh-huh.
that really was an early metaverse. It was just the early version of web, 1 and 2.0. Web 3.0, which is where we're going into an immersive experience, is really where we are going into really experiencing touch and feel and look of being in a reality world only in the virtual land.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I just want to make sure I'm using the terminology the right way. Last year we went to my friend Heidi and I, we were at Burning Man in the virtual Burning Man world, which was really, really fun and cool. And I loved that you could fly. That made me happy. Uh, I like flying. Uh, but yeah, it was definitely, there were some, as a woman who I'm tuned into the energy, and I know you are too, you're super intuitive and empathic. So you can,
Yeah.
it's weird, but like even in that world, I sensed like creeper vibes, you know, like there was a couple little experiences that were just sort of like, I'm gonna go float over this way now. Go bye, have a nice burn, you know. And so it was definitely it was weird. And so who knows? Maybe that's just me projecting, but it was something that I would imagine that's a whole nother layer of learning how to
Mhm.
be a kind of a Jedi and tune into your intuition. And okay, let's move away from this experience here. How do you help Emma? You know, your daughter I mean, she's only 8, you know, it's not like she's got that, but I imagine she's probably a lot more advanced than most of us adults in this
Yeah.
world.
Yeah. That's one good thing about her and the metaverse is when we go in there, the silly thing in the world, in a virtual world, is you could fly away. If you were there with me and I go, "Hey Val, let's go dance over here," and all of a sudden you grow wings and you're like, "Bye, Iz," and you take off. my daughter does the same thing in a different way. If somebody talks to her that she doesn't know in the metaverse, they'll be like, "Hey, DJ Kitten, great set," and she's all, "Bye," and she jumps off the side of a building and flies away. Because to her, it's just like what we've shown her in the real world. If you don't know somebody, don't just talk to somebody who is a stranger. It's the same thing in that land. We teach her not to go ahead and, follow that. Just follow the safety that we follow in the real world.
And then if I want to unpack this a little bit, obviously in the real world, you can see that you're talking to an 8-year-old, right? And you can see if, Chester the molester's, doing something, and she can be like, "Peace out, go away." But on a bigger scale of other people in the metaverse, it might be another 8-year-old, but we don't know that it's this unknown 8-year-old or 10-year-old or 20-year-old or whoever. To me, like if I were on the receiving end of somebody just jumping off a building because I went up and said something to them, and if I were young and not, understanding the context, I might have like a reaction of like, "Wow, I just got totally rejected and dissed by DJ Kitten." Do you know what I mean? And so I think there's all these other little weird layers that we're not necessarily sure how these are going to unfold, because you don't have that reality check of 8-year-old versus Chester the molester kind of thing, or 8-year-old and 8-year-olds kind of thing. And so I'm curious, like, how this is going to start unfolding for social skills and relationships and development, because we're already experiencing, like, we've got 2 years of COVID where people haven't been relating with each other face to face, right? And so that's creating a whole set of issues. And then now going into these virtual worlds, you really don't know who you're dealing with.
Correct.
You could be thinking you're dealing with a female, but it might be some big burly scary guy or something, And so how do we have an opportunity to have human connection, that is authentic, but still safe, but still fun? And I get to be dressed up like a part unicorn and whatever else I want to look like. You know what I mean? What's your thought on that?
Yeah. So a lot of these worlds have moderators. Now, to you and I in the real world, we would call them, and I'm going to bring it to you because I know Val, you and I share the same type of interests. We talk about our guardian angels, right? We always talk about people coming to save us that are supernatural. In the virtual world, you actually do have guardian angels. You have moderators that run the worlds. These moderators are not seen, are not heard. They're just in the shadows, if you will. And if you're in a world and you understand that you're being threatened or anything like that, they can snap of a finger, Thanos you, and get rid of the person that's in the room, or they can create a bubble around you. You can do that yourself to do protection against these things that you could feel threatened over. That's one of the biggest thing about there was a lady who sued Facebook Worlds in regards to feeling sexually attacked in the metaverse, and a couple of $1 million worth, because she was feeling that people were frolicking her and really doing things to her. Now, to you and I, all you do is you just take the headset off and that's it, right? You do that. But this person staying in there felt threatened and verbally abused and sexually abused, that she sued Facebook over that, and was able to win a couple of $1 million. That now these companies are starting to put measures in place that I can't just come up to DJ Valerie and hug her because you have a bubble that keeps you away from me, and vice versa, unless you turn it off to allow that safety feature to come off, and then you and I can hug and all of that stuff that you can do in those type of worlds. So those safety measures are just coming into play right now.
Okay, that's good to know, because I think of like, can you put a bubble around DJ Kitten so people are like, yay, enjoy the music, but don't get too close? Or I don't know what the how this is going to unfold. But I mean, obviously in 10 years, 20, 50 years from now, it's just like, this is definitely going to be a way that people are engaging and interacting. And so safety and ethics are of utmost importance. What's your experience with AI in the virtual worlds, and
You
have you
know, yeah, AI is extremely moved forward and advanced in virtual worlds because a lot of things that these worlds have is intuitive learning. If DJ Val comes into a world and it starts detecting who you are, these MREs and AI type things can start showing you a different experience that is showing another user because it
Mhm.
recognizes who you are. And obviously, on the tech side, it recognizes your IP address, what your factors are. I mean, you name all that style that we're dealing with. But in the world, you walk in and you're like, wow, it's catered to Valerie. And you're like, whoa. Well, it's because the AI is learning of what your habits are versus DJ is going in there and having a different experience. So it's extremely intuitive. It's a little scary sometimes.
And can you protect yourself from that and say, I don't want to be tracked, exposed, and shown the algorithm? I just want to be like, I want to go to DJ Is's party that you're putting together
Mhm.
that is crafted just by you, that
Mhm.
nobody else is. It's just like having a party at my house. Like,
Yep.
Coca-Cola is not just going to show up at my kitchen because you clicked on a Coke ad 5 years ago. You know what I mean? Like, I don't
Right.
want that in my life. Like, I want to
Mhm.
protect myself from being uh, hijacked by these companies.
Yeah, that's one good thing about the world that we go into alt in metaverse is called alt space, and it was independently owned, but then it was bought by Microsoft. So Microsoft owns this universe, if you will, or this metaverse. Now, one thing that you can actually do is you can go in and turn off these things that track you in the application before you go in, so you don't have that type of experience and you are definitely protected. And obviously we all know that we're still tracked in some way or another, but you can turn off certain things so it doesn't do those things for you.
Okay, that's good to know because it's definitely it's a whole nother experience to see something in 2D flat on a screen. And it's another clearly to start seeing it in like I'm moving through space and time, in my mind's eye in the virtual world. And then, oh, look, there's a thing like, ooh,
Mhm.
drink me, right? Alice in Wonderland, whatever. It's like it, it, it shifts your perspective and your perception of what's real and what's not. And then, so I think there's a lot more vulnerabilities that could be used for bad purposes and
Mhm.
nefarious purposes that people don't even understand that are happening.
There was an interesting thing that happened in the metaverse, and I wanted to share it with you. So a couple of months ago, there was this virtual couple, a man and a woman in different parts of the world. They got married in the metaverse. There was a huge wedding. They were in minotaurs. They were half man, half horse, whatever. They were doing this beautiful Renaissance wedding, and then you come to find out that they're not going to live in the real world together. Apparently they have their own lives in the real world, but in the metaverse they are married and are living in a house together, and all of that experience is a whole other thing to unpack.
Wow. And okay, so this happened. How long ago did they get
uh,
married?
just about 2.5 to 3 months ago.
Oh, I'd be curious the reality show, like how are they doing now and what's going on, follow up. It's fascinating. It's obviously a giant social experiment. Um, I, we have nothing to compare it to. We
We
haven't
don't.
had this before. It's and what's just this is a weird. I don't know. It's not a weird. It's a good. I think it's a good question. Let's say, for example, those two people are married in real life to other people, and their marriages are just whatever. Yeah. Oh, you're
Mhm.
Sally's going off in the metaverse, and I don't like the metaverse. I don't care. Or Jim's going in the metaverse, and like their spouses don't know, but they're
Mhm.
over here doing this thing. Is that it seems like cheating if that was happening, not that that's but is it because it's your avatar, but it's like it's fueled by the real you,
Mhm.
like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's, I don't know. That's like an interesting,
I feel the same way where you're going with that because I had the same feeling. If you ask somebody in the metaverse about it, they're saying it's another reality, it's another society, it's
mm-hmm.
different rules. It's DJ Val living in another in another world, in another I can't ecosphere, that's not this planet Earth. So your rules and your wisdom and everything goes out the window because you're living in another reality. That was the word I was looking for, another reality. But the reality still is, it's really still you embodying that digital version of you.
Yeah, it's that it's fascinating. I don't know. I'm just curious how this is all going to start playing out, because you think about like, you know, people in relationships, and some people are like, well, I want to have an open relationship, or, whatever. And the partner's just like, nah, but if you're getting like an emotional, social need filled in this other reality that maybe your current, skin relationships are not giving you, it's kind of like, well, if
Mhm.
that's making you a more whole, happy person, then is that okay? Or is that like going, it's just about agreements, I suppose. Like, what are your agreements in this reality? What are your agreements over here in your
Mhm.
relationships?
Yeah.
It's, it's just so interesting. It's so cool, man. Who have you met in the virtual worlds of the metaverse that have impacted you? How has this changed your real relationships in reality in
Yeah,
both
you know
realities?
what? It's a great question to ask because I've met a lot of people that are on the creator side of things, but I've also met females that are extremely cartoony attractive, if you will.
Uh-huh.
So I've met people there that never started a relationship, but obviously something that piqued my interest because you look at an animated DJ Valerie and go, wow, we're spending so much time together and we're going to worlds and planets and having dinners and watching movies. You do create that relationship, that connection with someone that you would in the real world by spending a lot of time with them. So I've been influenced by a lot of people in here. As a matter of fact, one of the things that because I'm a very big fan of yours. I've been a big fan, and I'm actually friends with Paris Hilton herself. So I created a world. I created a world for her on here that we got her to. This is her world that we created.
Paris's World, Wayne's
Yep,
World, Paris's
yep.
World. Oh my God, that's awesome.
So she could come in here and watch movies with her friends. But this is the part I wanted to show you when we go into her world. She has a library.
Nice.
She has a kitchen area. Eh,
Hold on. The library, can
Yeah.
she like look at the books and read them and sit in her world and read a book?
So on these books, you can actually create what we call a connector. So she can click on something and it opens up in an internet browser and she can read it like you're reading an internet page.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So yeah, so she technically could do that. But the part I wanted to show Valerie, because there would be something. Imagine living in this house, Val, and going at 7 o'clock at night. I'm gonna go upstairs. There's my bedroom, right? This is this is her bedroom. This would be like Valerie's bedroom.
Woohoo.
But at 7 o'clock at night, I'm gonna go upstairs in my own nightclub that I have set up, and there's my bar.
Oh my God.
You can go over and have a drink. You can look at obviously the Paris itself,
Oh, I
but
love it.
this is the DJ booth. And I know that you would appreciate the actual DJ booth because let me go behind it and step on top. This, Val, is what you would see.
Oh my God,
There's
dude.
cameras. You can watch the audience dancing. This is her tagline, Sliving, that she has, and she can DJ. We've actually had her DJ in one of my clubs here in the Metaverse for us,
Oh my gosh.
and it was such a blast. But you see the potential. You can have your own house that you embody and live in as Val, and go upstairs and have a public area in your house that you're like, hey, 8 o'clock, I'm gonna go live and DJ with DJ is and Val, and we're going to have a blast upstairs in a house party slash gigantic massive nightclub, as you can see by the stage.
Dude, that is so cool and so fun and playful. Like, so how does it work? Like for her or anybody right now. So let's say
Yeah.
she's going to have, like right now I'm going live, woohoo. So she'll
Mhm.
stream it out or, tell everybody, what is she using? I obviously want to know what's she using to mix with that gets in there. Is she using her
Yes.
real gear at home or, how does that work?
Sure. So there's two types of gear. Like you and I would do the physical gear, so she could go live in a real gear.
Hmm.
She would connect the avatar to this, so her it's mimicking your motions. For you and I, we would be in the real equipment, but the animated you would actually be moving the hands in front of these decks. Now, to go one step further, there is Tribe XR, which is a company that is part of Oculus. And what they do is they actually have real virtual tables that would sit in this world where you could spin the decks, fade in and out. You can have the drunk guy come up and stop your decks like we used to at the nightclub, but
Fuckers.
right. But those
I
virtual
fucking hated
decks,
that, dude. I
oh
was like,
my God.
dude, oh, yeah.
Yeah. I remember you were DJing live at Giant
Oh,
and the
God.
guy spilled his beer on your stuff and your face was like, what? You were like, you turned around like this, like slow motion going,
I'll go kill you. Oh my gosh, dude.
yeah.
Well, the nice part about the old days was obviously vinyl, you can get wet and play again. But like with this gear, all this new digital stuff, it's like you don't want the beer guy near your shit. I mean, obviously, you don't want him near your mixers or turntables, but dude, you have a great memory. I do not have a great memory. I think
I
too old.
my biggest, and I know we're going sidetracking here, but my biggest takeaway with you was I got to play for Dave Dean at the hotel for Giant, right?
Nice.
You were playing upstairs. I got the side room. There was literally nobody dancing on the dance floor with me. It was me on the decks. I think you saw my face sucked. Like I was so disappointed that I invited all my friends and nobody showed up. Everybody was dancing to different DJs. You came in with DM, Armel, and the entire tribe, and you guys danced
Woohoo!
to me before you went live. And your biggest takeaway was whether it's one person or 1,000 people, you're there to have fun. And that's what you told me. And it made a huge difference in my life.
Aw, I'm so glad. It's real, right? Like, I know we get this like mentality of like, oh, if I don't have like a packed dance floor, a packed Zoom room, or a packed anything, what's the point, right? And it's
Mhm.
like, it matters that you're doing it because you love it. Obviously, that's number one. Like, we're doing this right now because we love it. We want to talk to each other and talk about cool shit. And if somebody wants to listen, then okay, you're lucky. Um,
Exactly, exactly.
right. So whether it's our music or this show or anything that we're up to, it's like, do it because you love it first, and
Mhm.
I know I think that's important, and it's super important. So yay, music. I mean, what a gift, right? Like,
Yeah.
music brought us together. Saying yes to our passions brought us together as friends, and co-creators of good stuff in the world. It is really, really special and cool. Tell me more about uh obviously we're talking about, the metaverse and VR and all this stuff, and it's really cool. Like, you also have some, this is obviously a show about Bitcoin, peace, and music, and I'm a huge, huge Bitcoiner. Um, what's being built over on, you know, obviously there's a bunch of stuff being built on all these other blockchains and stuff
Mhm.
that are for artists. Do you know what's going on, like with stacks and Bitcoin and stuff for people to build, and for artists to build on this layers of
Yeah, so the different layers, obviously, because we're talking about blockchain and everything that's coming across, it's really taking us to the layer of where we're currently at with just buying Bitcoin. Obviously, currency for those people that might not know what that is. It's a digital currency that we can use to purchase things like we do in the real world. It's just um, just another layer for us. But a lot of these things that are happening now are infusing any digital world slash technology and taking that money currency that we just talked about, Bitcoin and all its flavors of that we have out there, and taking it to the next level, which is using it real time to buy, sell real property and digital property that are gonna be things that we are going to be able to own, like we kind of mentioned a little bit on NFTs and things like that. As far as the different stacks, I think right now, I know a lot of people are building in, stack 2s and 3s and things like that.
Let me pause you for a second. I'm talking about Stacks is actually a
Yeah.
layer 2 that's built on top of Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Right.
called Stacks.
Correct.
Okay. So I'm not sure. I'm not talking about different tech stacks, but the stacks.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
You want to kind of enlighten the people about the different stacks that we have currently going on?
Well, what I understand right now is in Bitcoin right now, we've got the Bitcoin layer 1,
Yep.
and then on top of that, they can build other things with like layer 2 stuff, whether it's Lightning as a side chain type way
Yep.
for, to be able to transact in Bitcoin. And then we've got Stacks, which is like a token that's being produced that's, on top of Bitcoin. And so my understanding, and I'm not like that, haven't studied it enough, but like
Mm-hmm.
this guy Munib started it, and he was building, like people are building, creating NFTs using like the stacks that's built on
Mm-hmm.
top of built Bitcoin. And they're doing smart contracts, and they're doing a lot of things that people are doing on all the other blockchain stuff, like whether it's ETH or Solana or whatever any of the other blockchains are. So that's what for me, as somebody who wants to see innovation, I want to see artists, no more starving artists mentality. I don't want to have, too many middlemen taking out too many chunks of the royalties. And, so I was excited to learn about like, oh, you could create a song or a movie or a
Mm-hmm.
meme or whatever it is. And then in perpetuity, you can get royalties if people are using it in a certain way. Right. And so what's going on in your world that you understand
Oh,
about
definitely.
that?
So, especially for our world right now, that we are infusing the Web3, right? So you've got the Bitcoin blockchain, world that you live in. Web3 is up here, and the things between the two is where you were talking about the stacks, the proofs of the transfers and the connectivity of everything, like you said, the tokens. For us in the entertainment and the music world, it's exactly that. If I just create a song right now that I'm going to put out there, whether it's metaverse, digital, it doesn't matter, sell it as an NFT, I'm now connected with our stacks to the Bitcoin and blockchain connector, which is really going to be just that. I'm able to get paid directly as an artist by people really subscribing and getting into the blockchain world, the Bitcoin and all of that. To give you a perfect example, in one of the nightclubs that we have on there, we are allowing people to put up advertisements of NFTs or things they want to sell, or even just an advertisement like you would see in a nightclub, Val. And they're paying me via Ethereum or via Bitcoin, if you will, for that. They're going back and forth and saying that. At the same token, I'm also sharing my wallet to pay not not Microsoft, because I'm not paying Altspace for anything. These are free worlds, but other artists. If Valerie comes in, I'm going to say, everybody, Val's going to be playing tonight, sharing this blockchain, pay the amount if you have wallet and digital currency. That currency then is sent to you. And so for that, like real money, I'm able to express and sort of share that digital currency with you, where you're making the money and there is no middleman to that.
Awesome. And so so let's say I come to your club, right? And I'm like, yay, I want to give you, 1,000 sats or
Right.
whatever. What would I do? What are you using? I'm trying to get some light here because it's getting dark.
Sure.
What are you using as far like a real world, like example of me going in there and like, I see like, yeah, I'm going to stream you 1,000 sats. How would I do that in the
So
metaverse?
so when we do in the metaverse, everything is really happening in a digital chain, just like a wallet. We are literally connecting a portal, if you will, to that land. So like we talked about Giant would have a portal.
Mm-hmm.
People would be funding the portal. The portal would grow, obviously. And that money is then saying, when it hits certain amount, it goes into your wallet as Val because you are an entertainer in that, and I can't manipulate it. Once it's happening, it's done. We agree on the back end that you and I are going to give you so much funding of that. As soon as that wallet hits that mark, it goes to you directly. I don't do any of the APIs or the POCs or anything like that where I connect that. It's already pre-done on the back end. So think of it like investments. So we're investing on DJ Valerie to come in here. Everybody's investing on the show. And when it hits a certain one, that loan money goes to you and it's stacked over to that as, BTC. Vice versa, if people are paying me to rent my club, it's the same thing. I create this loan, so to speak, and say, this is what I'm asking for this space. And as soon as that investment of NFTs are coming in and stacked, then it's going into my wallet and funded. So I can do whatever I want after that. So I don't know if that answers it.
Kinda. I want to get a little more nerdy with it. So let's say you've got let's say there's 1,000 people that want to come into your club, right? And they all have different, uh, tokens. They all have different forms of currency, internet money, that they want to contribute. Can you accept all of it and then convert it into, if I want to be paid in Bitcoin, can I say, cool, this is, whatever the equivalent of the pot is that you collect, can you distribute it in the form of currency of my choice?
Yeah, that's what's cool about a lot of these companies that we're working with, especially in the metaverse, are built in the blockchain, which really allows you to take every type of digital coin. I know we always call it Bitcoin, but for sort of the diversity of different flavors of Bitcoin, these companies allow you to take those stack excels, which allows you to bring every type and then bring it back to you. If you want to get paid in Ethereum, you get paid in Ethereum as long as that stack's foundation is built on those platforms that these infrastructures are allowed. Decentraland uses probably 9 different types of stack infrastructures, where Altspace really only uses 3.
And are they things that you can utilize outside? Just, I want to understand how this works for people, for transactions, for artists and stuff. Is it something that they can utilize that particular wallet functionality, that consolidating mechanism? Let's say I'm over on my website and I want, because there's obviously all sorts of different ways that we can collect payments, whether we're using like a BTC Pay server, or if we're using other ways to collect things. If you want to collect, like, yeah, I'll take all your stuff. In a lot of Bitcoiners call everything else shit coins. So, sorry guys, but it's what all the maxis say. But if people are just like, yeah, I want to pay you this, like, is there a way to instantly convert that to Bitcoin and get it to the other, get it to your artists?
Yeah, and I think the biggest takeaway here for artists is going to be that you want to start by having a wallet. And that's for every artist out there. When people come to me and they go, "Hey, do you Venmo me my money when I'm done playing?" And I'm like, I could Venmo you the money if you like, but then that comes out of my wallet and I have to convert it on my side and get on my phone and digitally send you as Val the Venmo or the Cash App. I could do that on the fly. Because wallets are pretty much instantaneous for us to do the transaction. But I do recommend that every artist out there really invest in looking on getting wallets on. Obviously we could talk about different places later that they can go ahead and do that, because that's going to be key for every entertainer, every musician, is how are you going to get paid and when are you going to get paid? If my world all deals with stacks and Bitcoin, I want to pay you the fastest way possible, just like the old days, Val. You didn't want to wait for that envelope from one of the promoters 2
Oh
days
my God,
later.
dude,
You
the
need that
fucking
money that
mafia.
night.
I remember, you weren't with us, but I remember we played in Vegas once at Club Utopia,
Uh-huh.
and which was like, oh, it's a great club. I was so excited to get to play at. And we go in after the show and I'm like, okay, it's 4 o'clock in the morning. Where's my money? And of course they've got like guns on the table in front of me and they're like, we'll get you paid later. And I'm just like, okay, bye-bye. And I was terrified because I'm like, holy shit, and I'm like, all I have for protection is like fucking glitter and hairspray, and I'm like, I'm not going to go up against these dudes. And so many times, and I love you, Dave Dean, but Dave was also somebody I had to go chase down constantly. And I'm like,
Mhm.
dude, you're hardly paying us anything. We just need our fees so I can pay the girls, And so that's obnoxious, obviously, for any artist in any situation, whether you're, putting stuff up in a gallery, whether you're a DJ, whether you're, a video person, whatever. And so I like the idea of, you know, if you choose, I love freedom. If you're choosing to transact and collect certain types of other uh, cryptocurrency and tokens, but you want to come to my show, like, okay, cool, pay in this, but instantly I want it converted to Bitcoin and I want the
Yeah.
Bitcoin to go to my pocket.
Exactly. And that was the biggest thing. If you, depending on the NFT platform that you're going to be using, some platforms and NFT platforms are obviously going to take a commission. I mean, these are companies that are also trying to make money, but the commission is not going to be a high commission like we talked about in the nightclub. Hey, Valerie, you get $3,000, but we made $20,000 tonight, So as far as that, yeah, one of the things that I have to tell most artists here are going to be that when you come on board, if you're going to be original work, like Val, I know you do original work yourself, I would consider bringing that into my club as original copyrighted work that nobody else can, as we record, just like YouTube. If you're going to be playing an original track, that then should be connected to that blockchain, ownership that you and I made an agreement ahead of time. So you're like, hey, I've got 4 songs, original pieces that are mine, and I want to be paid for that, then I need to add that into the blockchain to ensure that you, as the originator, the copyright owner, are getting that certificate of ownership, but you're getting paid for those pieces as well. Just like we do with YouTube, if I have original work, I want to be getting sort of funded and paid for that original work. And the buyers, the people that are out there listening to it, are actually going, okay, I'm funding Valerie or DJ is in making that. On top of, I'm also seeing the artist's performance. So you're able to make really good money. You just have to be very conscious and savvy in regards to, well, I'm going to go play a digital show and I got a wallet, but once I'm done, I don't even know where my money is. Did I get a Bitcoin? How does that work? I need to be conscientious of how that's going to happen, in the cryptocurrencies.
And so this is a huge door of opportunity for education and helping artists and people understand this. So, because again, what we don't want to see in the music and the artist community, the creators community, we don't want to see a repeat of what happened with all of these artists in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s with the record labels screwing them because they didn't know any better on how to be self-responsible for their work, and their intellectual property. And so, unfortunately, what we've seen is a lot of people who've had these, multi-million record hits and they're broke. They're not successful anymore because the record companies did this whole, yeah, sure, sign over here. We'll distribute your stuff. And
Yep.
here's your $10,000, go record, but you're not going to get any royalties or, whatever. How do we help empower and educate the creators in a step-by-step way so that they're protected, that their wallets are protected? There was a whole, I think it was $680 million recently that just got hacked off of Axie Infinity, right? Like,
Axie, correct.
uh-huh. And
Yeah.
so, and then obviously MetaMask has been having some issues with their wallet and something with Apple. So how do we help make sure that people are educated so that they're not just like, yeah,
Yeah.
this,
So obviously, we always talk about these things, even in the real world, is you have to educate yourself. I think for somebody like you and I to sit here and really do a do-it-yourself masterclass would be key to help artists do that.
yeah.
It's really a masterclass going from beginning to end. How does Valerie go from human to digital and every step of the way. If you're going to be doing a do-it-yourself process, by the NFT marketplaces that are out there, every artist that's going to be either selling a product or buying a product or whatever you want to call it in the crypto world, we really need to look at these marketplaces and do our due diligence of knowing, is Nifty Gateway going to be the best one for an artist, or is it going to be, super rare or Rarible or one of those things? What is going to be the one that's going to be not an agency like we look at music worlds? I'm not going to go into an NFT agency where they're going to be taking everything because they're promising shows in the world, but really a foundation that you're going to give them, a 3 to 5% commission, 30 cents on every digital sale that you're doing. But how does that also look at for the artist that fluctuates in every digital product that they're putting out there? So it's going back to a masterclass. I really do have to emphasize a masterclass that really is showing the artist A to Z. And hey, we all love to learn, but let's not get taken advantage of, right, Val?
Yeah, and let's not, hope that someone else is going to do it for us, and as far as like managing our money. And I think, part of part of my soul mission is to help kind of fuse the artistic community and all of us kind of hippie, spiritual, woo-woo people with the reality of money and the reality of self-sovereignty in our financial world. Because unfortunately, there's a huge disconnect in these two worlds, right? We've got everybody like, let's just, do glitter and lights and la la la. And, somehow I'll eat some granola today and life will be great. And, as you start to get older and you have kids and everything, it's like, no, I need to go plan for their future and have, more stability and stuff. So unfortunately, that's a lot of the cases in the healer community or in the artistic community. And then over in the financial world, we have, profit, 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 profit at all cost, beat competitive, and they're not over here and like touching this part of themselves. So ideally we want to fuse, I want to be a bridge for both of these types of humans and communities in the world. And so what I've learned over the last year of really studying fucking stop studying Bitcoin and all of this. I love it. I'm literally obsessed.
Yeah.
And I still feel like I know one slice of glitter compared to the whole thing of what is to be known, right?
Mhm.
Being self-sovereign with our money and understanding how to hold it correctly, understanding what is money, what does it mean, what is fiat currency versus a Bitcoin standard, what is a gold standard, what does all this stuff mean, and how does it impact our current life, right? Because like artists, I used to just be like, well, I'm making a couple percent, it's sitting in my bank, I think it's outrunning inflation, but right now with all this money printing that's happened, people who are holding their dollars, they're literally being robbed every year through the money printer and through inflation. And so your purchasing power is being completely annihilated and you don't even know it. And someone else is doing it through no influence of yours, and they're benefiting, their inner circle and then the second tier circle and stuff. So it's important that artists and musicians and creators understand their power, and not giving it away to someone else to manage. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, so we have this girl artist. She's a musician. She plays a guitar, and she did what we call a digital music NFT. And what that really means, it's not a picture. It's her with her guitar playing a video. So think of it like I recorded a video for you, Valerie, and you're just gonna have it like me having the screen behind me playing 24/7. It's always the girl with the guitar. But the problem that she did is she signed a private contract as well as a smart contract. The difference between the two is a private contract is basically a clause that you've created with a company like a record label that they're going to take so much money. A smart contract, on the other hand, is an alternative open contract that everybody has access to, that they can all see, just like you and I. So the problem that she did, and I'm going to name some names here, not physical names, but companies. So she minted this song to be a digital NFT with a company called Nifty Gateway. That's your gateway that's going to distribute this music to other places out there, just like you and I would distribute her song with a music company, right? That was a private contract that she did. They told her that it was going to be it was going to be seen 3 to 5,000 times a week in different NFT places, so it was going to bring her a lot of money. And then the resale was going to be through a company called Rarible. Rarible was where you can go out and buy these things as a user. I love what she did. I could buy it on Rarible and make that. However, she also had a smart agreement with the layer, the first layer, which is OpenSea. That's where she put it in the market. You and I selling OpenSea, it's like you selling your DJ decks on eBay, right? It's an open land where everything is. But because she did this, Val, her royalties stayed at like 10% of what she was going to make. So she got screwed with Nifty Gateway. They're like, well, sorry, we didn't get you what you wanted, but you had a private contract with us that you're still going to be able to give us the money. And this artist went, well, where's my work? Well, her work has now been distributed all over the place for free and I'm saying, I hate to say this word, got fucked, you know? And unfortunately, Rarible, which was just the distributor of everything, was like, well, talk to OpenSea because you started a smart agreement contract with them. What OpenSea was able to do is, because everything is digital, is pump the brakes and shut everything down. So Nifty Gateway no longer had any access to that digital work that's out there. They pulled the cord and everything that's been spidered out has been stopped. So it is a very important to look at a smart contract with the infrastructure that you start in and really have that. If it's not going your way and you know you're about to get screwed, OpenSea or somebody has your back to stop that sale and really bring that distribution back to you and not get screwed by, oh, I just minted 20,000 records and I made $1,000. Where's the rest of my money? You know, because it changes hands in the digital world.
Wow. Yeah, there's a lot of room to learn here for sure. I mean, it's obviously never ending. But do you know anybody who's like doing training or education on this so that people can learn how to protect themselves?
Yeah, there's a couple of people that we've been following that have done that. I can send you a list or you can post it with your Steve is one of the guys that I know. He's doing NFT trainings on masterminds. Let me pull up his information so you can see it. I think it's Stephen Ryan is the gentleman's name. I'll find it. But I think it's Stephen Ryan. He's been doing NFTs for freedom, and he does masterminds on that. Meta Billionaires is another one that's a mastermind that they're doing. It's at metabillionaire.com. I can send you the link to that one where you can kind of see the roadmap and the story, all of that. But a lot of these mastermind classes are really giving you how you're really working those angles, because you do need somebody to kind of give you the formula, right?
Yeah, you definitely do. And out in like Rug Pullville and Scamasaurus Town, like who do you trust, right? And so there are so many shady characters out there, you know, in any realm, whether it's in the Bitcoin world, whether it's on all the other worlds, whether it's in the real world, you know, and it's very, very like it's confusing. And sometimes people might just throw their hands up and just be like, forget it. I'm not going to do this because I'm overwhelmed.
One of the things that I have not seen is logistics in the digital world when it comes to NFTs or Bitcoin or a blockchain. There really hasn't been a source like we have in the real world that governs all of that. And it's good and bad, Val. I mean, it's good that not everything is being governed like by our government, but it's also bad because when you have something that goes bad, who do you go to for answers? Who do you go to who has your back?
Right. Yeah. And so I'd be curious if you're obviously with Paris Hilton, who's your bud. She's into NFTs. One of the reasons I was thinking the other morning, I'm like, I'm just going to write like my 1 year, recap of learning of why did I start this whole journey? And she was one of the reasons, because of like, I was learning that she was getting into NFTs and I'm like, what's an NFT? This was last year, I think in January, and then the Beeple sale happened and I'm like, what is all this stuff? Like $69 million for digital art. Like, okay, I'm you have my attention, world.
Yeah.
um, so it would seem like, this is an important way for, young artists. Cause I mean, think about DJ Kitten, right? Like if she
Mhm.
decides she wants to learn how to be, a super rock star, agencies are popping up. Um, creator of any sort, how can she capitalize on her skills and talents in a way that she's protecting her IP over the long haul? And I think that was kind of my original question. I'm going to take, can we put these, can you just email these to me? Cause this might, I don't know if
Mhm.
this like goes away, and then I'll put them in the show notes.
Yep.
Um, you know, the, you don't want your IP, and that's intellectual property for those listening who may not know that. Like, that's one of the most wonderful things you get now in the world to be as a creator. And now that we
Mhm.
don't have to rely on these multi-million dollar recording studios to go in, and we don't have to have these agencies, it's up to us to do our homework on how to create your own library of content that you can market and sell to a movie studio that wants to use your song for a movie. Like,
Mhm.
what do you know about? I know you're in the film industry and helping different clients there. What are people doing? Let's say I wrote a song, and Warner Brothers is like, yeah, we're going to use it in the next Spider-Man movie. Like, so in the old days, you would have different contracts with your agents and all this stuff, and then you might get like a tiny little royalty because you used it, and you hope that they're recording, not recording, their tracking mechanisms are transparent enough that you can see some reports that's like, yay, it got played
Mhm.
in the theaters this many times, it got played on Netflix 5 trillion times, here's my check, pay me. Like, now we have smart contracts and we have the ability to track things through. What are you seeing pop up that's helping artists in that realm right now?
Yeah, so especially in that realm, a lot of, especially like Sony and Paramount, they're now putting what they call I would call it an IRA, right? Like what we used to in the olden days.
Okay.
So they do these savings accounts, if you will, for an artist like you. And like you said, these smart contracts and reports that we're able to see across the board because everything is digital, you can actually see your money, how it's growing in this stack of funds that you're getting because they're all going to that digital currency. So for you, they'll offer you a contract and go, Val, here's what we're going to do. We're going to invest 3 to 5 Bitcoin in whatever is in US dollars at that time for your song to be played across all digital media. That's commercials, you name it. You've been in, you understand the industry, so everything under the sun. The cool thing about digital waves that we are looking at now in our technology is everything is intertwined to one gigantic database. So you're seeing that fluctuation grow. So the artist can actually see every single piece that's been touched by every single audience member. So they can't lie to you anymore, Val. They can't say,
Right.
sorry, you can get a royalty check this week. You're going to be like, here's the report showing that 19 people in Africa saw it and 20,000 people in Los Angeles saw and heard my song. So
Exactly.
you are well protected further now than you were before.
And is there like, what are you seeing you utilize like in real time? Because obviously, like, for example, if you've got, let's say Spotify, right? You get like what, like 0.03 cents for every 10,000 plays or something
Exactly.
ridiculous. You know what I mean? And so I don't know how try to turn the light on here. Hello. Oh my God, it's too bright. What's being utilized, what tech, what, how are people able to go in real time and look at, like, yay, my Spider-Man song is on Thursday or Friday the 22nd, I've had 1,000 downloads today, and then you get
Mhm.
your monthly payout or whatever. Is there, what's being utilized that you might know of?
Yeah, so right now Sony is using this thing that they call big roads, is what the name of it's called. It's big roads. All that really is the next revenue stream for filmmakers, revolution, if you will. And that's kind of like their dashboard for everybody to create an account and go in there and look at the trading volume that they're getting. And a trading volume really is where your music is being distributed to. Like you stated, Spotify, right? It's Sony is distributing the song to 19 different things. Those click jump sections that you're seeing are given the rights to, and everybody's paying here and there, but you can actually see real time in these dashboards exactly where your volume is being moved to. As a matter of fact, I will send you that link for that, so you can kind of see how First Hollywood is starting to do that handful of industry distribution of your music. And the Currency Works is what their platform, I just pulled it up. Currency Works is what it's called.
And how is it verifiable? Do you know what I mean? Like with Bitcoin, I can go look around and I can look on I can look at on my node and I can go look at the transactions and be like, yep, I'm getting this much volume or, amount of transactions through my wallet. Like, how do I know they're not manipulating the numbers as an artist?
You know what? That is a great question to ask, because, you're looking at these companies that are really created by the movie studios. Currency Works is created by a combination of Warner Brothers and Universal and things like that. Are they skimming on your money? I hate to put it out there that probably they are, but Currency Works is basically saying, you log in, create a portal with us, and you'll see that the movie made $90 million, and every time a royalty was paid or anything was sold with your music, you're going to see every transaction of every single platform that it was paid to and all the figures that are coming in and out. Now, is that something that's manipulated? I don't know, Val. I mean, I hate to say it's not, but you've been in the industry, in every industry, long enough that something is always manipulated.
Right. And okay, so then that's kind of, again, circling back to, obviously different things being built using different, blockchains. And I don't, I call Bitcoin a time chain. Everybody has all their different words for stuff, but that's what was in the original white paper from Satoshi. And so I like the concept. Again, I'm not an expert at this, and I'm doing this whole project it's a way to learn and talk about it with people and share, and hopefully add some value to people's lives and learn together. That's what I'm concerned about is, are we duplicating the existing system, whether it's this existing, macro big financial system, or this, this our artist system that was unfair to artists and non-transparent, in the past? Are we just sort of putting perfume on a pig and over here saying, look, it's on the blockchain, isn't this great? And then if you don't have the accountability and transparency and the auditability and the immutability, and it's not that's what's interesting about Bitcoin. You can't go in and just say, well, I'm going to go say that you got this many downloads and you only got here. Like, if you build it over here with this transparent model, you can't mess with it. And to me, that's priceless for the longevity of an artist's work. And that's why I put up what's going to happen in 50 years, because if people keep, I'm going to build it here, I'm going to go build it there, it's kind of like the MySpace and all the old things that are of years gone. Then it's like, well, what happens to my work that I created back in 2022 when it's 2060 kind of thing, and you need that revenue.
Yeah. And I mean, accountability is a big thing for Currency Works and blockchain and all of that, because of the digital age that we live in right now. Everything that you've got published out there is going to have a transaction. It's just a matter of how deep are you involved as an artist to look at the transaction chain, right? Just like when you're looking at your bank account, where you spend money here and there, that transaction chain is going to be there no matter what. It's there. We're looking at these tokens, we're looking at this digital data that is fluctuating from A to Z. But how deep is the artist going to go into the transaction to look at their payments and cryptocurrency that's coming into them, and royalties and payments? If you have an agency doing that for you, is it somebody you're going to trust, or is it going to just be, like you said, the pig analogy that you use? Is it just the same thing over and over and over? It's still a corporation that's trying to make money off of these transactions.
Exactly. And that's kind of where, the trustless nature of Bitcoin, to me, it's like you're trusting you're trusting the math.
Mhm.
Like you're not trusting a human to like say, yep, I'm going to do it right for you. I mean, that's why I like it's open source. I want to work with open source, uh, protocols and people who are using open source. So if you want to get nerdy about it, you can get in. So it's not just this like, uh, uh, only Sony gets to know how the functions work in the background, and you have to
Mhm.
trust them, sort of thing. Like that doesn't feel good to me, um, in the new world that we're hoping
Mhm.
to create and co-create together. So I just want to learn a little bit more about that and like what's really being used to protect. Because clearly, most artists are not going to go 10 layers deep
Mm-mm.
into their I had 14 plays in Ghana this week in this remote village. Like, but it's neat to kind of know, because as an artist, like if for some reason you're getting like a ton of plays in a certain area, you're like, maybe I should go do a show over there. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And so you can use that data to, grow yourself as an artist and go do live things. But it really it's that trusting, the whoever, is using, whoever built that thing that you're
Mhm.
putting your artwork on and your IP on. Um, yeah, I think it's interesting. Do you know anybody like, obviously Paris Hilton's Paris Hilton. She's a whole
Mhm.
category of
That's a whole
beautiful human.
category of
And
her own.
yeah, she's her whole own thing. But like just us normies, do you know any people who have you really been able to, work the new system? Again, I say normies because obviously we've got a lot of big artists and big people out there. Steve Aoki was at
Mhm.
in Miami, and he's pimping his NFT. We've got Snoop and his NFTs and all that stuff. Like, who do you know that's like just normal? Like, I'm a folk singer and I want my folk music to be out there. Do you know anybody who's utilizing the new world successfully?
Not successfully. Every single person is at the same boat that you and I are in, where we have 1 foot in and 1 foot out. And we haven't really, at least for me personally, I have not seen artists really successfully push it because they are as confused as we all are. It looks
Yeah.
awesome. You got an amazing transaction coming in and out. Your money's going, here and there. You got $2,000 coming over here. You looking at, oh, by the end of the month, my currency and my digital value is going to be 40K. And then they all go like this. I have 40K. I know I do. I just don't know how to achieve it or get it or where to grab it.
Yeah. And to me, like what is service to offer people to,
Mhm.
and again, that's kind of where I was thinking of, like with your club, it's like if people are, give them the freedom to transact in whatever, currency, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, points, if they want to come in and give you some airline miles, it's like, can you hurry up and convert those to some other thing? And so obviously we've got these, um, ways of doing that, but is there a way to have that just automatically built into your experience in the metaverse?
Mhm.
That
Yeah. I think that for that scenario that you just mentioned, for me personally, is assurance of working with the right team, at least in my club, the right team that knows there's transparency across the board to make sure that every artist that comes to play in our world is getting paid. Is getting paid what they deserve to get paid. Like for me, but you know me personally, other people don't know me, but you know me personally, that I'm always a very fair person, go above and beyond. But for me, if I'm going to sign a contract with you to make sure that you're digitally getting paid where you should be getting in any Bitcoin distribution, you have something transparent that's going to go from here to here, and you're going to know every step of the way, and you're going to see every transaction report that I have to my fingertips to show you that you're going to get that money that you are promised.
but like right now, so you say that's in place.
Yeah.
And then so I'm just curious, is it something that, and I apologize if I'm repeating
That's okay.
my old dementia brain, but I want to make it really clear for people. So, okay, so I have whatever wallet. Let's say I have I don't know. Can I use my treasure? Like I
Yeah.
could use a cold wallet and just say
Yep.
like, cool, I want to have my treasure. Here's my wallet. And this is how I want to get paid in Bitcoin. Right. So let's say I have that and then I hook it up to
Mhm.
what on your end that comes in, and we create this smart contract that says, okay, Val is going to come play at Iz's club. I'm going to get 10% of the door or whatever,
Mhm.
if let's say that's our agreement. Uh, and then you're going to be in charge of collecting whatever you want in the door. And then, if you want to collect ETH tokens or whatever you want, you can collect
Mhm.
anything, and you're going to consolidate it in your, bag, as it were. And then I'm going to get to see all the transactions. And
Mhm.
then automatically it's just going to be like, cool, set's over. Thanks. I hope it was fun.
Yeah.
Here's your payout into your treasure. What's the thing in the middle there that creates that contract so that you and I don't have to have any quibbles with a gun at 4 o'clock in the morning?
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, so for me personally, I use CoinDesk.
Coin
So
desk.
CoinDesk. So CoinDesk is basically where I'm going to establish that I have a night happening, that I'm going to be doing these wallets, and we create our accounts in a fund. Think of it like, when you used to do GoFundMe accounts, right?
Yeah, like a
Okay.
Patreon or
Yeah,
gold.
like a
Yeah,
Patreon.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, especially for you as Valerie and the Vibe Tribe, you have multiple people that work with you. So, in that scenario, multiple people need to get paid. It's not just Valerie.
Yeah.
So, for me, I do a Coinbase bucket, if you will. And
Coinbase or Coindesk?
sorry, CoinDesk. But what I was saying is like I'm putting in my Coinbase of information into my
Oh,
CoinDesk.
got it. Okay.
And so I create a bucket of that. So I say this night it's going to be happening. As a matter of fact, we just had a night that we call a Night at the Roxbury. It was a theme party where it was based on the movie Night at the Roxbury. So in that funded event, we created into this bucket, if you will. And
Mhm.
then that's when we're breaking the smart agreements that Valerie is going to get so much of this bucket. Israel's going to hold the royalties because he, created the world in the event and so on and so
Mhm.
on. At the end of the night, I'm not taking an envelope and paying you money. It's going, Valerie got this, and that's what we're getting no matter what. And just like in the typical world, if I don't make enough to pay you, that comes out of my coin base. That's the money that I put in, my Bitcoin. That comes out of me. So I'm going to have a negative space in my bank account because Valerie needs to get paid because that's what we agreed upon.
Got it. So it's whatever our agreements are, but then it somehow gets crystallized
In the digital worlds.
in
Yeah.
the digital world. And so
Mhm.
you and I were like, yeah, this is going to be so great. And we can both see before we make the agreement. And so we would somehow sign it digitally.
Mhm.
And is it possible to just like, let's say you didn't have a good night or I sucked and whatever it was, like, is it possible for one of us to just go in there and manipulate the contract?
No, because we are sort of contracted by let's just call it a bank, right? CoinDesk is going to be like a bank.
Okay.
You put it into an account. I can't manipulate it. I don't own CoinDesk. I don't know anybody over there. It's a infrastructure that's set up for those digital transactions between companies and partners. So I cannot manipulate it in any way, shape, or form. Also, if I lost money like that night, and I'll be honest with you, nobody showed up at my event, which really sucked. But
Mhm.
I still played, Val. I DJ'd my
You
heart off. I
played.
played. We had a few people in there, but I promoted the hell out of it, and it just did not turn out as it should have. But if I had DJs playing that night that lost money, I'm the one losing money. At the end of the night, I still have to fund the money that went into that coin desk. You still are getting paid no matter what. I basically got to go and flip burgers and make real money to cover those costs that I lost with you. So like it's an investment basically.
And can because okay, so part of the and thank you for explaining it. That makes a lot more sense. And I'm curious because one of the beautiful, parts about Bitcoin and is you don't have to have that intermediary and that third party, right? So it's kind of like the coin desk is acting like an escrow.
That's all it is. It's an
It's like
escrow.
an
Yeah.
escrow company. Yeah. So then there's this agreement. However, you have third party risk of them saying, oh, this is huge. I mean, obviously companies don't get to stay in business if they're confiscating their clients' stuff, but whatever. You see stuff happen. There's employees, whatever. Obviously,
Mhm.
things have been happening here in the world, and so you're putting counterparty risk in that equation.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And so whether they get hacked by an outside party, and obviously we're talking about an experience that's like, okay, it's one night, it's kind of, hopefully it's going to go quickly, and we're not talking about billions of dollars of transactions. But I'm just wondering, like, is there a way to make it the smart contract just between you and I,
Mhm.
and then we put it in like a multi-sig kind of thing, somehow, and then at the end of the experience, we all go unlock our, you know, key
A
thingies, and
key.
yeah,
Mhm.
and then we get the payouts kind of thing, or the smart contract does
Mhm.
it for us instead of the third party.
Right. And that's something that we can do. And there's a pros and cons to that. You and I can sit here and create our own music, space where we have certain artists in the West Coast that fund into these events, and we do our own thing. We do our own trade stock crypto style that's in there. And we have wallets that are intertwined with each other. It then goes to the ethics of, are you and I going to be ethical enough to make sure that we aren't, crypto hacking other people's wallets and taking their stuff and all of that. But it just goes back to human nature. There's people that you want to trust and work with. And so to answer your question, yes, we can privately do that without a middleman. That's to answer to your question. Yeah.
And then they take, like, so CoinDesk, just as an example, they take a few percent
Yeah, it's just
of.
a percent. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And I mean, and that's the reality, is like everybody's so excited about, like, everything needs to be on blockchain, DeFi, decentralized, all this
Hmm.
stuff. And it's like, there's still like business purposes where it's like that's you don't need to have it on this decentralized, like,
Mm-mm.
thing. Like, there are companies out there that provide services that are important that we can pay them for so that we don't have to go and do all that stuff. So,
Yeah.
it's fun. I mean, I like unpacking all this and like learning how people are utilizing it to make things easier without the guns at 4 o'clock in the
Hmm.
morning.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. Yeah.
it's really fun. And so, okay, so you've got tonight, you have got uh soon. Okay, well, it's 5 o'clock your time now. You're going to be DJing live for 3 hours in the metaverse.
Yep.
And so, if I were to go hijack my, oh my God. So, okay, dude.
That's that's
Hold on,
that's
I gotta, let
yeah.
me make you bigger. I want to make you bigger.
So that's literally me touching digital equipment in a virtual world. And as you can see, look, I'm moving the faders. My CDJs are spinning. You can't see the screen I'm seeing because it's in front of me, but I see my tracks in front of me. And I'm actually manipulating my entire equipment just like I would in the real world.
Okay, so let me get this straight. So right now you're in your Oculus and you've
Uh-huh.
got those things on your hands,
Yep.
and you are you can see what you're playing, like,
Yep.
like you would on your
Hmm.
CDJs.
Yep.
And so you're literally manipulating the sound in the graphics
Exactly.
experience. And
Uh-huh.
so it's not just,
Yeah.
oh wow.
And what's cool about that is your hands are like, when you see me slowing down the CDJ, it
Mhm.
feels like I'm slowing it down. I feel the vibration of the deck, even though it's not even in front of me, Val. I could feel the
Wow.
vibration of slowing it down. I could feel the fader go up. When you see my hand go up to my ear, that's when I turn on the cue so I can hear the cue on my left ear or my right ear. And that is literally a virtual experience by a company called Tribe XR that partnered with Pioneer to create this virtual experience. And you can actually get the software on Oculus itself, like they call it a game, but I bring it into the metaverse world experience. So when I DJ tonight, that's what you're going to see. And this is going to be broadcasted in an actual club called Tribe XR Club, where there's going to be hundreds of people and they're dancing in front of me. And like I said, somebody can come up and try to touch the table and mess up my gear, as we did in the olden days. The good thing
But
about, yeah.
can they though? Will it activate any touch on your end, or is it just it's fake
Yeah.
on their end.
No, it could actually touch the equipment, but what we do in that sense is we create a virtual bubble around the DJ
Okay.
booth, so
Okay.
nobody can come up unless I invite it. But what's cool about that, Val, if you're in your state, you could be appearing next to me, and we can literally do a back-to-back DJ set where you are tweaking the knobs and the CDJ while I'm playing with the effects, and we're doing a 2x4.
Wow. Okay, so that's so fun and cool. And so can I like I mean, because obviously we're looking at a Pioneer mixer here.
Yeah,
Does it have all the same effects? It has all the same
yeah,
stuff that like a 900 or whatever would have. Uh,
correct. Yeah,
wow.
yeah, exactly. And that's actually a 900 right there. And that's a 3000 decks on there. And yeah, so you do get that full experience. And obviously the background here's a side shot just so you can get a side shot of what it looks like.
Oh my
Um,
god.
you can see the DJ waves actually going, the music wave that's going on there, and you can see the faders going in out. But it has every button, every feel. I could tweak every single thing on that. And what's cool is they added a roll-in synth wave machine on the right side. It's not in this shot, but I can create a synth wave on the side to loop over like the old Roland days, the 808s and the 303s and things like that.
And then where like is so within the tribe um XR for you, like so let's say rather than having our, 100 pounds of records that we have to
Right.
carry around, you're gonna have obviously a your digital collection.
Uh-huh.
How does that just get to input somehow in this in tribe, or is it like connected to tractor, or I mean how is it connected
Sure.
to so that you're playing?
Yeah, so mine connects directly to my record box on my laptop.
So it's on record
So
box.
it's
Okay.
on record box, and I have my Oculus connected via a cable to my laptop, so it reads my real time tracks. I just see them on a huge screen in front of me, which of course we're not showing here. I see the tracks in front of me. So when you see me point at the screen like I'm doing guns towards you, it's because I'm selecting a track to play next, and it automatically gets queued to the next deck for me. And here's up to my ear, clicking on my ear so I can queue up that area. So as you can see, I'm listening to the tracks on that. And here is an overhead shot, just coming up in a second here of what you're gonna see when I am. As a matter of fact, I think it's just coming up next. Yeah, it looks like it's just about to hit that piece. It'll go overhead, and obviously, I can go more and more on what it looks like when I switch, decks on here.
Dude, that is so fun and so cool. So like right now, okay, so you have a laptop and a desktop running both of these things?
Actually, no, the laptop, there's a front view. The laptop is actually controlling my music,
Okay.
and my Oculus is controlling the program that gets fed the music.
But and so is the Oculus a standalone thing?
Standalone,
It's
correct.
standalone.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
So and then how do you navigate all the beautiful stuff behind you, like your visuals?
Uh-huh. So ahead of time, I import the video into the application, and before I get started, so you see me pointing at the screen because I was pointing at my next track. I actually have a right. I have a video looping in the background through the Oculus, and then I can have all different things fade in and out. DJ is and welcome and hi Metaverse, and I can do what you're doing on Restream on this Oculus experience by presetting it. So what you don't get to see is you don't get to see a dashboard in front of me that I can click on, show my name, show my logo, show when I'm going next, subscribe. You don't get to see that, but that's in front of me as well in a dashboard.
So like with our chaos, right? Like
Right.
or what's the other one? There's our chaos and Resolume. So like with Resolume or our chaos, right? Like these are, VJ gears where you could, sort of like Ableton, you plug all your little clips in, you can
Right.
sync them to the music, you put weird effects and transitions and all this magnificent stuff.
Uh-huh.
Does it work to that degree? Or is it more like iMovie kind of like, okay, cool, here's a bunch of clips and it's a little more
No, it works. It works to the degree it goes to the music. So when you're looking at my waveforms there, where I'm looping something, you'll notice on the floor it'll start flickering because the screen is behind me. It'll actually play the video to the music you're playing. So it'll speed up, it'll slow down, it'll crossfade the video for you. So it'll do all of those things for you, as you can see on this next scene here, where it actually is looping it, and those balls are moving exactly to my music.
Wow. Dude, that is so cool. And how does it feel for you? Because when I got to play with like I did, Android Jones had a thing with his what is it called, the microdose VR, and I got to play with his stuff a couple of years ago at that VR thing, and I played with the kids' Oculus. Like, there's definitely something cool about moving, but there's still like that tactile thing.
Yeah.
How does it feel for you as a DJ not to truly have the knobs? I know you said you can kind of feel the vibration with the platters and everything, but like really to me with the knobs and the twisting, like how does that work for you?
Yeah. So when I first came on board, I was actually brought in by the creators because I had been, I've been referred to them as a DJ of 20 plus years. So when I came on board, I went on there going, but I'm not touching anything. I'm touching air. That's weird to me. There's nothing there. Within 5 minutes of playing with it, your brain sees it there, because as I move the fader, as I get closer and I pinch my fingers, it literally feels the vibration of that fader coming down. As I go down, it fades down and I can feel the vibration go away. So within 5 minutes, I could actually feel the tactile that I would feel in the real world. Even as bad, if I got mad because I messed up, I could slam my hand on the deck and those faders would go flying everywhere. So
Oh, wow. That's crazy, dude. Well, okay, so let's talk. That's really exciting, and how cool to be a part of helping to co-create this with this crew. So let's say, for example, let's do a little road test here. So let's say tonight, we're not that it's tonight, but just another night. Like I'm like, yeah, come on, I want to play. I want to do some vocals, and I want to do some effects on my vocals from here in Colorado, and you're in LA, and I'm going to do some looping and some weird stuff. Like, how would we pipe my music in so that we're in time? You know what I mean? Or like, how does that work?
So yeah, the cool thing about this is the application is syncing to a third-party server, which is the Tribe servers, and their audio synced servers. So for you and I, you are actually piping in the guitar, the synthesizer, and it's just like we do with OBS, right? There's always that delay. We don't get the delay because we're pumping the music to that same server in real time. So when you're doing it, I'm hearing that strung beat, that synthesizer at the exact beat of me playing that track.
Okay.
There's
I
no
want to do some
latency.
fun experiments with you because I've really been having some fun with okay, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Is Record Box the only way to get our sounds together?
No,
Or can I do it through Ableton and stream it to you through this
you can do
service?
it through Ableton. Correct. Yeah. Any funneled audio that comes in, and you already know this because you're a DJ, is any input that comes in, you can bring it directly into the device.
Okay. But would it have one master mixer? Like you would be the master mixer and I would just be like channel one that would go into your mixer? Or do we each have our own mixers and it goes into a third mixer?
Yeah. So for you to stand next to me, you would see in your headset your decks. And I would see my decks, and we would sort of be infused to a wink, wink virtual mixer that nobody sees. It's the back end mixer that mixes the entire production together infusedly without any hiccups.
Well, and then what if, because obviously when we're doing, a 2x4, let's say, if we had two mixers and, four decks, if we're doing something that way, and then it goes into the third deck, just as artists, you and I are going to just be like, okay, like wink, wink, it's my turn. I'm going to go loud and you chill out now, vice versa sort of thing. And we just play together like we're like that way.
That's something that what's really neat about that is if you and I are playing and all of a sudden I'm like, well, I want to cut out for a minute because I want to sort of I'm screwing up the deck and I don't want to embarrass Valerie, right? I could cut out
Lost.
by hitting my master. I could turn off the master. I cut out. Your mix still continues, but I could be on here muted to you. Nobody in the world would see it, and I could be DJing on the back end, and be able to really resonate to that world and just give you that full experience of my own, and then be like, hey Val, because we have the chat feature as well. Or I could just turn on my microphone where only you can hear it in your ear and go, hey Val, sorry I screwed up the mix, I'm ready to come back in. And you're like, all right, is unmute, and I unmute, and my music infuses directly to your mixer and vice versa.
Okay, cool. And so, but it's self, it's like we're directing our own stuff. Like if for some reason, if I start screwing up and you're like, oh, I got to quiet Val down, like you don't have control over that part of the experience. Like I have to be responsible for turning it down. Cause
Yeah,
like if we're in person, you can be like, you suck, like turn it
yeah,
down.
exactly. Yeah. What's cool about this is it's think of me and you sitting side by side on the same mixer.
Mm-hmm.
And if I see that you're making a mistake, I could reach over to your knob and I could turn down the treble to get that, beat off a little bit. I could actually tune you down. But think of the cool thing about that, Val. You could do a DJ masterclass where people are in front of you and you're like, go ahead and hit play on that button. Oh no, you clicked it too fast. Hold on. Let me hit play for you. And you're teaching a masterclass DJ class for people in this world,
Okay.
So yes, so you can actually manipulate each other's items on the fly in real time.
Oh, cool. Okay, because that's cool. I think that's because there's definitely times where it's just like, I'm feeling it and I want to turn you down and I want to go loud, or obviously like you're not feeling it and I'm turning you down, whatever. So
Mm-hmm.
I think it's neat to have the
Yeah.
optionality to do that with each other. That's really, really,
Yeah.
really amazing. Wow, this is fun, dude. I mean, we've talked about this years ago, and here it is, and you're
Mm-hmm.
doing it, and you're my mentor. And wow, thank you, like for being. I mean, you've always been just so hands on and groovy, and like look at what you did for DJ Kitten, and just you're such a maker, you are. You're just a cool maker of things and an experience giver to people. I think it's so cool.
You
Um,
know, but I got to say, it's always because of the mentors that I've had. You were such a great mentor to me, and I really appreciate learning that from you. Seeing what you brought to the table, and the Vibe Tribe to me was, I one day want to be able to bring that, just like Valerie did, to the world. And it's because of your mentorship and seeing how you progress with everything really has given me that flow and that guidance.
and thank you for that. And I really like for all the young people out there listening to this. I mean, be the dumbest person in the room. That's your goal. Always like be the one who's asking the most questions and like learn from everybody else. And I remember when I first started DJing, I didn't know anything. I was a girl. It was this total dudes world. There wasn't really a lot of girl DJs, but I just knew. I was like, I asked one of my friends, it was Joey Jimenez in San Diego. He was an old school house DJ. And I was just like, how do I DJ? And he's just like, go to every DJ that you meet and go ask them one trick, ask them one tip and one technique. And that applies going forward in my life everywhere, whether it's business, whether it's parenthood, whether it's personal development, like ask people one little thing like, hey, I want to learn this thing. What can I do to become better? Like, what's one thing I should know as a new person or as a, DJ in training or a human in training?
Exactly.
Right. And stay humble, because like there's so much to learn, and the more we learn, the more we understand how much we don't know. And it's just like, wow, we have to keep growing and surrounding ourselves with awesome people. I love the idea of doing um, like a little mastermind group or some kind of masterclass or something fun with each other to learn on and riff on. Like this project that I started working on after I got back from Miami for the Bitcoin conference, I was thinking of like a creators day for, uh, just in the Bitcoin world, like people who are making content, so whether they're
Mhm.
making podcasts or videos or articles, books, memes, whatever, um, trying to educate their particular audience. I'm like, it'd be fun to have a creators day, where we all get together and kind of riff off each other and learn. And, certainly there's all these OG people who are like, well, I already know my stuff. I don't need to do that. And I'm like, well, I'm new and I want to learn from other people, like how to be a better communicator, how to overcome objections, how to talk about things intelligently to, my audience and stuff. And so, um, that would be kind of fun to do something like that in our music and video world. Like,
Mhm.
like who's doing that other than the two of us that are going to do it?
Exactly. Mhm. I haven't seen it, but I think that that's something that we really need to escalate. When I reached out to Roger Sanchez about the VR world, because he's doing a lot of green screen, he was
Nice.
like he was like, "Oh my God, get me in touch with the owners." And I got the owners, and they were excited. It was Roger Sanchez. And at the last minute, he sends me a message going, "Wait a minute, bro, I gotta put this on my head." And I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "I got a big head. I ain't gotta fit my head."
Oh my god. Like and that's the interesting part too, cuz like that's one thing that for me, like putting it on my head and moving it around and just kind of the
Uh-huh.
discomfort of it, that's where I was like, well, this is kind of cool. And when I was at the conference a couple years ago, they had like the AR goggles that were sort of more user friendly looking, but it's just you're not going to get the computing power in these little goggles that you're going to get in
No.
that monster VR immersive thing. And so, you know, again, guys, like in 20 years, 50 years, we're going to be laughing because like what we're doing right now is like Pong, and it's going to be a hologram in front of our face, right? And so let's have some fun with it. But yeah, let's do that. I think that would be
Let's
fun.
do it.
Do you know like so Linda, who used to be our flute player, and David Starfire and Walter Green. Do you know who Walter Greenleaf
I know
is?
I know Walter Green. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and so they just launched yesterday. I just saw it. It was great. It was called Trip, TRIPP. And so they did the thing that I was thinking of why I went to the conference a few years ago with like immersive mental, meditation and visuals and audio. And there's a ton of apps out there that are doing that. But I'd be
I
curious,
It's funny
you
because
know.
I pay on Oculus. I pay the 4.99 a month for Trip to have that.
You do.
I do, and I had no idea that that's who created it.
Isn't that cool? And
That
so
is cool.
how long have you had it's
I've actually had it from the beginning, so I've had it now about 9 months. And I pay, and they recently started doing the extra things that you can pay for the 4.99 a month to
okay.
be able to get the immersive any I hate calling them levels because they're not levels, they're different experiences. So I could choose my breathing exercises to a stress, all of that. But hey, $4 or $5 a month to me is worth my mentality, right?
And so what's your practice with it? Like how often do you utilize it?
Every morning when I come in, I put this on in right before I start my work right here in this office, and I go on Trip and I do I think it's usually like 15-minute meditation on what I'm looking for. Most of it is focus, Val. For me, I want to focus on work in the day.
Mhm.
Midday, if I'm having a bad day, or I'm having a day where I'm just exhausted, I'll do the energize level on there, where it just kind of re-energizes your brain
Mhm.
with all the visuals and everything. But it's beautiful in there. It is an amazing immersive thing.
I love it. I love so what's your prediction for because obviously we've got a lot of, companies like these guys, or we've got Microdose VR, we've got all these, uh, content creator type folks who are like, yeah, you can go in there and do like, painting or all these things. Do you think they're all going to stay uh, separate? Or do you think there's something that's going to happen and kind of swoop them all up where it's like a Spotify kind of thing where it's like, here's the main platform
I
and
think
then
it's
just
going to be. Mhm.
I don't know. What do you think is going to happen?
I think it's going to be a swoop up because there's so many right now that are there, and they're all competing with each other in regards to popularity.
Mhm.
And marketing is obviously a huge thing. So I think just like Microsoft scooping up alt space, it's going to be
Mhm.
the same thing with these applications. There's going to be a bigger company like Breathe and things like that that'll
Mhm.
come around and go, hey guys, let's just bring it together and bring it into a full immersive experience.
Right. Because obviously, like the worlds that you like to go in may not be the same type of worlds that I like to go in, but they still have the same functionality,
Hmm.
right? And so, like, I might like panda bears and giraffes, and you want, robots or whatever, um, and that's what I think is interesting. Like, to me, when I was at the conference, I was wanting to see who's doing kind of the biofeedback integrated with the experiences, and they had like the Muse headband that was integrated into the VR thing. And so it could tell you, like, okay, we're trying to get you to do this focus, and you're somehow having whatever these little rhythms are. So everything's gray because you're still not focusing. And then when you get into a certain brainwave, then uh, your experience looks different. So you start doing this like I don't know if it's called biofeedback or if that's the right word for it, but it's not a static thing where you're just a participant watching it. Like your mood or your thing, your vibration, your energy is feeding the
Hmm.
experience, And so what
I
oh, sorry, go ahead.
well, I was gonna switch screens here really quick. Look, so this is the events that are happening right now. How funny that we were talking about Trip. Look, there's this meditation, Deep Talks with Ryan, as they call it. It's a world, and it's sponsored by Trip.
Wow.
So if we enter that meditation world, people are actually meditating. Actually, I'm muting it. So if I do go in there, they can't hear my voice because obviously you're meditating. But going into this world right now that we're going into, it's going to have a bunch of people in there. And that's obviously, again, sponsored by Trip. So really neat to see what kind of experiences you can see right here. It's letting you know people are meditating. No portals, no emojis. Don't be disruptive.
What's a portal?
A portal is when I open a hole where you and I go to another world.
But so, like, as an example, if we go in here to this space and we're like, yeah, I'm meditating and I see you, like, we
Mhm.
have to like leave the space and we can't just go journey or something. I don't know. I don't get it.
Yeah, so if you and I are standing here watching this happen, I open up a big window in front of everybody and I go, "Hey Val, let's go to this nightclub instead."
Oh God. Okay. So it's like you're not redirecting the audience in
Right.
another way.
That's basically what it is. Because people, so you notice all these people here, they're
Uh-huh.
meditating. I can't, I obviously am not going to interact with them because you don't want to be disruptive. But,
Sure.
and you can't hear the music, but it's actually right now Buddhist monk chanting.
Cool.
And if we go to the front of the area, there's going to be somebody leading the class in
What's the
front.
glowing around? Why are they glowing?
Yeah, those. So you're working on your certain chakras.
Oh, cool.
So everybody here gets to sit in a space. Obviously, you don't want to just move because then you're disrupting it. If I move too much, I'll get a pop up and it'll say, "Hey, people are trying to meditate here. Just pick a spot and don't move." So the lady in front of us has the purple chakra, so she's working on that for herself.
Is that
As you,
something that this is where I'm curious with the feedback mechanism. Is that something that she says, yay, this is what I'm working on, and she pushes a button and wants to do it? Or is it something that's displaying this uh, purple glow because she's working on, like, something's getting triggered in her unit to give it like, yay, her seventh
sure,
chakra is opening, or,
right.
whatever. Like, what
So
is that?
so basically when you come in, there's a board in the front and it'll say question for you, and it'll be a very descriptive question of, Valerie, how are you feeling today? Let me ask you a question. And you click on it and then it deciphers, oh, Valerie's currently in this mode, so she needs to do her plexus currently. And it'll say, hey Val, we're going to turn on your plexus for you to do that. And you hear a certain tone that's receptive to your, to your plexus versus your heart chakra, and that harmonious thing is happening around the person to help you balance that chakra.
Okay, so it's a pre-programmed kind of thing that you put in. It's not just like a, wow, she's meditating and look at the results that are happening. Like, it's
Right.
something that's an input, not necessarily an output. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
that makes sense.
Isn't
This is
that
where
neat?
I want to see, like, this. I want to learn about if who's doing some kind of, like, there's what is his name? Jeffrey Thompson. Do you know who
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Jeffrey Thompson is?
I do. Uh-huh.
And so I guess he's got some kind of oh yeah, because we talked about that on our call the other day. I'd be curious, like, what it would look like in his work that he's doing. So for you guys who don't know, Jeffrey Thompson is like a sound healer, super geeky, yummy scientist man who teaches people about, using their vibrations for good, Batman, right? And
Yep.
then programming sound and light and everything to prescriptively help you, shift your health and wellness. I'd be curious if there's like a, do you remember in the old days that they had like the aura pictures, like get your picture of your aura. Like I would love to see that in real time if we could display that in these worlds. Like
that would be amazing.
do you know what I mean? Like, because if you're somehow having whatever your sensors are and you're willing to like show up in a world and have these different types of sensors, like what an interesting social interaction that would look like, right? If we all were kind of like not naked, but like our energy was sort of being like, oh, hey, is like we meet each other and my heart starts fluttering and I have like a woo, and you're like, oh wow, hey.
Exactly.
I don't know. That just seems like really cool and fun.
Pretty awesome.
Wow. Well, okay. And so that is really exciting. And so you go in there and you practice and do, whatever you're feeling the need for the day or the moment. And I'm excited to see what's going to happen with the interface and the, just the way things look and feel, and certainly having, again, like Roger said, like putting that on your head is that, obviously you get a whole different experience, being in a different world, in a virtual world. Like, wow. Freaking cool, man. This is great. I love you.
I love you too. It's amazing.
I know, dude. It's so good. Okay, so what do you got to do before your DJ set tonight in the Metaverse?
So just like you and I always prep, for the set. For this nightclub, they have a certain code that you have to put into OBS to be able to sort of feed it into their nightclub. Okay. So I got to do all the pre-checks on that. It's usually half an hour before where I plug in my headset, put in the code, and there's nobody in the club open yet because it's the virtual club's open on the hour, just like opening the front door to a VIP. And basically that's what will happen. When I'm done, they'll give me another code to go to the after party where I'm DJing in like a rooftop. And people can come over that are invited to then do the after party. So just do the pre-checks, make sure that the music's working, make sure that the top thing is the internet doesn't go down, obviously.
Yeah, that's has that happened to you before where you've been in the middle of it and it just poops out?
Yeah, and it sucks because you freeze and the music just cuts out and you just have a frozen avatar standing there and everybody's like, huh. So,
oh, dude,
embarrassing.
How do you? I wonder, like, are they figuring? Yeah.
So the way I do it is I have another computer that's feeding in a YouTube video, right? So if I die, I automatically go to that video and I hit play really quick, and it automatically brings the virtual me on the screen so people can continue to dance. And understand, like, oh, he's gone. Oh, wait, there he is on the screen. I'm going to keep dancing. And it's just a pre-recorded thing that I might have of a previous mix that I did. So I'm prepared like you, Val. You remember the days,
Oh, you got to have the backup, man, because something always can happen. And I know I always had something like, oops, I should have had a backup. You learn quick. But yeah, that's so fun. And so... what are you going to play tonight? Do you have like a vibe in mind?
So you inspired me because I always need inspiration right before. So you know me, I always like to play hard trance or something. Well, the guy that's going before me is playing tribal. So they can't go from tribal to hard trance. It just doesn't work. So I knew that at some time today I would get an inspiration. So I'm going very... downtown, Valerie dressed up 4th of July. Remember that night? I'm going that.
No.
You don't remember that night?
I don't know. Okay, you have to understand that I don't think I have full-blown Alzheimer's, but I have dementia. I have horrible memory. So, okay, just remind me, spark my little brain.
We were in this little tiny club just west of downtown LA. It was 4th of July. You had the flag on you. I think I still have pictures of that. And you were gonna do a hard set, and I was excited to do a hard set. And all of a sudden, you like stop what you're doing. You let a record play. You walked around the room because there's not a lot of people there at the night, and you're all, check this out, bro. And all of a sudden, you come out with a very melodic, progressive, beat that was not DJ Valerie, because DJ Valerie banged the set. She was like, right? But that night you went progressive, and I was like, wow, I'm not used to this Val, but it was very melodic and sort of had that repetitive, groovy tech house beat. And that's what I'm going to do tonight. I'm going tech house, but I'm going to tell you why. All day for 2 days, I've had a mix in my head of a warpy drum and bass track with "We Like the Cars That Go Boom." So from the 80s.
Okay, I forgot. I don't know that one. We like the cars that go boom.
We like the cars that go boom. We're Tigra and Ani, and we like the boom. So
okay.
Yeah, so I'm taking that 80s feel with some tech house, and I'm infusing them together to sample a little bit like Milli Vanilli in the background while I'm doing a tech house over it. So,
oh, dude, that is so cool.
That's what I'm going with tonight. And again, inspiration of talking to you today, because I had no idea what I wanted to play. And all of a sudden I'm like, you know what? I remember that night very well. It was such a fun night. And it was such a different Valerie that I had seen. And looking at you now, which I'm very proud of you, it's a different Valerie now than the Valerie I knew back then. So for me, the inspiration tonight is doing something out of the box.
Oh, I love it. Okay, so can you, like, when you're playing on Twitch, can you stream it to like these channels and stuff?
Yeah, so there's 2 ways to stream. I can stream directly from what you saw on the video tonight of me on the decks, or I can take the OBS and stream the nightclub with another avatar with another laptop in the room, where I'm streaming it to the entire public from the club view, so you can see people dancing while I'm on stage.
So like, right, because like right now you and I are in Restream, and we're taking this feed and we're streaming it to both of our, respective channels. Can you take that and then run it through Restream, and then if we go live tonight, I could just like have you on my channels going live?
Exactly. Yeah, I could actually restream it on Restream. You can take mine and then restream it to everybody else. So yeah, you could literally be a promoter for the club.
Oh, dude, that would be fun. And then you would invite me to your stream just like I invited you, and then it would just go out to these channels.
It would just go out to the channels, exactly. And you could be the commentator. You could be like, we had commentators in the nightclub. You could be like, hey, this is Val. DJ ISS live in the Metaverse. I'm here enjoying it. What's up, social media? I mean, you literally could commentate the entire night.
Because basically, like, if I'm streaming it, then I could like turn your volume down just a little and commentate, and then just mute myself and let you obviously be, doing the performance and stuff like that. Do you want to do that? I'm here. I'm like chilling. I don't know if I can be, okay. So 10 o'clock Pacific, that's 11 o'clock our time.
Yeah.
I may not stay up as late as you, but I could do it for a little while. Would you want to do that? I don't want to interrupt you during your set, but if you send it to me at the beginning, like that would be fun.
That's what I was thinking. So in the next hour, I'll test the decks in the club to make sure things are working. Okay. And then ahead of time, because I also want to restream it to my social media, ahead of time, I'll turn on Restream, and then I'll invite you, and then you can tag along with that, and then blow the stream out to the rest of social media. That would be amazing.
That'd be so cool, dude. And then I could dance with you. I won't have an Oculus, but I'll be here. But
you'll be dancing. Yeah, exactly. So that would be fun.
Okay, cool. Ooh, this is fun. I love experimenting and playing. And yay! I get to promote DJ ISS. Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. Okay. So do you have any like little graphics or anything you want to make that you send to me that I can put out as like a scheduled thing, or I don't know what?
Yeah. So I'll send you 6 that I've actually going to be playing in the background today, but I'll send you 6 so you can kind of throw them on the front of the screen. That would be awesome.
Oh, cool. This is so cool. I'm so excited. Yay. So cool. How fun, dude. I love you. Okay, cool. So, okay, so I'll let you go so you can go get prepped and go eat and go do all the great stuff. And so, for those of you guys who cannot see the screen, you can check out DJ Is and all of his links for everything at I haven't seen this website before, with Koji, WITHKOJI.com / at ISSRADIO is radio. And so he'll have a bunch of links there to go say
Yeah,
hey.
that's what's cool thing about with Koji is you can see behind me, this is with Koji playing. My
Okay.
links are above the images, but I can have a video playing behind it, unlike Linktree. And so all of these things are actually on my different links of everything I need in my live feed for Twitch, which will go right into that. Here, this is my Twitch account, but I can go through and have, again, the animation on an iPhone, on an Android, and really have that experience like I would with really animation, and, you know, take it one step further than everybody else is doing.
That's so cool. Okay, so it's like I like an up-leveled Linktree kind of thing. That's
Yeah.
great. And then everywhere else people come find you on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Are you on LinkedIn too?
Yep.
So it's at ISS Radio, RADIO. Go look up DJ Is, and you guys can follow him and learn about how to be an awesome DJ and a tech person, and how to make really cool worlds for your children. Like, that is so cool, dude. Like, I love that you did
Thank
that.
you.
Like, seriously, that's just like, that warms my little heart. Warms my little heart up. I love it, love it, love it. And yeah. And so for us, we got that there. Okay. What about me? Okay. So go to bitcoinpeaceandmusic.com, you guys, and you can go get a playlist that I made for you. It's 111 songs. I love listening to music because music is the medicine and the DJ is the doctor. Woo! DJ Is knows that. And then you can, of course, always go over to at DJ Valerie B Love and BTC Peace Music and follow us and give us a like and a share. And then that will be really fun. But any last words for up and coming artists or people who are, you know, looking to get into, you know, capturing their gifts and talents in the metaverse and all that? What would you say to new folks is?
Right now, it is a great time to make money in these new platforms that are coming in. Just be wise and do your research on everything before you put all your eggs in one basket.
DYOR, baby. Do your own research. That's the thing. And yeah, and reach out to us. Reach out to Is or myself. And yeah, I guess let's put together like a little master class group, something where we can talk to people and learn from each other, and then hopefully help the younger folks. And, you know, they're going to teach us more than we're going to teach them. That's for sure. It's good stuff, man. All right. Well, I love you, brother. And I can't wait to hear you DJ later. I'll be your vibe tribe tonight. Woohoo!
That's awesome.
So cool, brother. All right. I love you. Send me some links and
I will.
Let me know. So right now, what is it? 6:40. So it's 5:45. So in an hour and 15 minutes, you're going to be going live.
I'll be going live. Exactly. So in the next 30, 45 minutes, I'll start prepping everything I need, and then I'll send you what's needed out there.
Okay, cool. All right. I love you.
I love you too.
Okay,
Bye now.
aloha. Bye.